All right, we are jumping right into it. It took me a minute to set it up for my very first time.
Alright, so after a solid hour, this is what we got. It turns out the pump that it comes with is going to be the best thing to inflate it with. Our problem was using the little electronic pump, but we'll see how it works.
After getting it inflated, we inflated the seats and put them in the kayak. They strap in just like so. And of course had to try them out to make sure they were in the right spot. But yeah, it was easily big enough for 2 people and a dog, although as you see here, it was a fairly small dog. So while I didn't take it out on the ocean, it was still a pretty stable kayak. It was pretty wide, you weren't going to tip over or anything. Very stable, and I will say the paddles that it came with worked great. They were collapsible and stowed right in the carry case. Worked pretty well. I thought they got me around on the lake just fine. It is nice and light, really easy to take in and out of the water. Takedown is a breeze. It was definitely a lot faster to take down than it was to set up. They have really big air knobs there that you turn. Gets all the air out really fast. It means you don't have to mess with like a one-way valve or anything. I think they're called Boston valves. And like I said, the paddles that it came with were a real breeze to take down. I will say they don't float, so don't drop them, and really easy to stow. Of course, the second time setting it up was a lot faster. I used a pump, no problems, real easy to set up. Took maybe a quarter of the time. Still a bit of a pain, to be honest, but a lot faster. I used the opportunity to do a little fishing from it. It worked pretty well. I was able to fish with one other person and my little dog in the boat, no problems. Just make sure you don't poke the kayak because the material is pretty thin.
Alright, so that's the first fish out of the kayak.
And the final journey of this kayak was on the Little Sioux River in Iowa. It was my first and only time taking it out on moving water because it unfortunately popped. It handled okay, the river wasn't too crazy. However, there was a little stretch of white water where there was a bunch of log jams, and unfortunately, I believe it popped there. It popped right at the seam, which was unfortunate. Overall, for a little boat on a small pond, little lake, nothing too rough, it's not a bad option. I will say the takedown and setup is a little annoying, but if you live in an apartment or something, it can be great. Wasn't terrible for the casual user. I thought it was a pretty decent little kayak. I was actually surprised.